Hello, it's Kevini. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing better. I want to thank whoever watched my first YouTube video, Reflect. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch it. I really appreciate that. It was very difficult to put myself out there. I mean, it still is, but the more I do it, the easier it gets. And I'm here to get more vulnerable with you guys. I'm here to share more of my thoughts, I guess. And the theme of this, I guess, video is perspective. There's a lot of things that I went through in my childhood and just growing up in general that I was sad about, that I was anxious about, that I was angry about. And I mean, I'm not invalidating. First of all, don't ever invalidate your feelings. You're allowed to feel what you feel, but just don't live by those emotions. Just let them pass. Part of being human is experiencing all these emotions, but don't get stuck by them. And I feel like I did that for a long time. Reflecting back on them, I can kind of shift my perspective now. I don't know if it's because I'm older. Age gives you a little more wisdom. Not that I'm, the wisest or oldest person, but I'm 24. I mean, I lived, almost a quarter of a century. And, I have experiences, I have more knowledge that I can use to set those past thoughts and experiences to a better perspective. I mean, for example, not too long ago, in that video, I mentioned that I went to college for accounting and how miserable I was and how much it sucked and I suffered and I cried and I was so anxious during it. And yes, I felt all those things and I'm not going to invalidate. It sucked going through that. But coming out of that, I realized that a lot of people don't get a chance for a higher level education. I am blessed to have that, to have a title or a degree that can help me acquire better jobs and whatnot. It's not what I wanted to do. I did it to please my parents. I did it to please my parents. I did it for the wrong reasons. Chasing money. Ooh, accountings make a lot of money. But hey, live and learn. I have that under my belt now. I have that knowledge. People can't take that away from me unless I get beaten to death or something. I get a concussion. I don't know. But I live with that now. And I'm grateful for that. There's people who don't even get the chance to have an education. Another example I want to use is I'm going to start opening up. I'm sorry. I'm going to get vulnerable. Sorry if I cry. Actually, I shouldn't apologize. It's who I am. I am who I am, and that is enough. But I want to use my family as an example. I am the youngest of 3. I have 2 older brothers. They grew up together. They were born closer together than I was. I'm the youngest. And they grew up and experienced things together and did all these things, have had similar friends. I was born later. I there's an age gap between us, so like when they went out and stuff, I was a kid. I had to stay back, do my own thing. And the thing is, back then, my parents, they always work. Somos mexicanos. El trabajo es el trabajo. They work their asses off for everything they have. And of course, that meant that they had to go to work. My parents left the house. My brothers did their own thing, and I'm the youngest one. So I'll just stay home alone for hours, for days, for weeks, for years. I grew up very, very alone. And I complain a lot about that to my parents. And yes, it sucked. It sucked so much. I wasn't a happy kid. I used video games as a way of escapism. That helped a lot. Going through that, psychologically, it made me who I am today. But in the grand scheme of things, although it sucked going through that, there's kids who have it way worse. There's kids who don't even know what they're gonna eat. There's kids who get abused physically. The thing is, I've tried sharing these things in the past with close people, and something that always seems to happen when I open up about my emotions and past experiences is that I get kind of brushed off to the side, like my emotions are invalidated, which I think is the reason why I have a hard time opening up and being vulnerable and sharing my emotions and feelings and thoughts with people, because growing up, no one took him seriously. No one cared. I was a crybaby. I would cry and they're like, otra vez, este chillón. Oh my god. And that scars you. That, like, if people don't validate how you feel, even like that's even happened recently in the last year. You open up and you get brushed aside, you get called names, you get insulted because you share these things. Of course you're gonna shut off. Of course you're not gonna share these things. But I think I'm old enough and wise enough to know that I don't need anyone's validation. I felt what I felt. It sucked, but I'm not gonna live by that. And I'm gonna say some things that people that I know might not be okay with me saying. But hey, I'm just sharing my experiences. Let me be. I have Hispanic parents. Hispanic parents or Hispanic families have a very aggressive parenting style. And I don't want to blame them because, hey, it's the generational cycle, the generational trauma, you know? My parents, they were very aggressive, verbally, emotionally, and to my older brothers, even physically. Like, I mean, that's in the past. Don't be like, ooh, Kevin's parents suck. No, like, hold on. But as I was saying is, my older brothers went through some shit, shit that I didn't have to go through. So even in that sense that I complain about my shitty childhood and stuff that I went through, I feel like even my brothers had it worse than me. And it sucked to have witnessed that, but I didn't actually live through that. Like, it didn't actually happen to me. And again, I want to put that in perspective because it's so easy for me and my brothers to say, oh, fuck my parents. Like, they did this, they did that. But think about it this way. Perspective. Put yourself in their shoes. They came over from Mexico. They don't know the language. They don't know the country. They don't know anything. They did what they had to do to survive. Also, in most Mexican culture, emotional intelligence isn't taught at all. Isn't shown. I could only imagine how my grandparents were to my parents for them to behave like that and treat us like this when we were growing up. And I also want to say that I am very blessed to have the parents that I have because yes, they did the things that I would not do if I had kids. At least I can say that they are not the same people they used to be. They have grown and matured themselves a lot. And I feel like there's a lot of people in the world that cannot say the same thing, that their parents are just stuck in that mindset that they're not willing to grow and change for their kids. And I'm fortunate enough to say that my parents have. I mean, obviously they have their flaws. They're older people. Their, mentalities are different, but they generally try their best to love and support us. They try to change their ways. They listen to us, all the complaining and things that we said, like, oh, you did this, you did that. They listened. And that's something that I really appreciate. And something that many people don't get to have. Some people just have to cut off completely that connection between their parents. I'm so sorry if you do have to do that. I'm so sorry. I want to actually open up even more and share that something that happened actually recently. I am not straight. Most of my family knew, except my dad, because he is hyper religious. It's not on frame, but he has a cross that, I mean, I don't take it down because I respect them, but he's super religious. So I finally came out to him, and it was a very, very painful experience. All you want to hear as a kid is for him to say that he accepts you the way you are. But of course I didn't get that. Instead, he just started with his religious talk and talking about how if I listen to him, I can change. This is a phase. But no, it's not. It's just who I am. And that sucks because he's just insulting me, like a part of me. Yes, that sucks and that hurt. And I don't know if I damaged our relationship. I haven't really talked to him after that. But there's people out there who can't even say anything. And now they're going to get beaten. They're going to get kicked out of their house. Or, like, their circumstances are so much more different than mine. Their whole life is at stake sometimes if they even mention anything related to that. I am so sorry if you have to go through that. I'm so blessed to still have a roof over my house, still be able to live my life. Like, yes, that hurt, but for the most part, unscathed for the most part. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, that changed your perspective for me. Like, yes, it sucked, but it could be worse. Bottom line, something as simple as me being a man, a white man, and I'm not talking about that I'm white, soy mexicano, don't get it twisted, but my complexion, I'm a white, tall man. I don't have to worry about the things that other people have to worry about at all. I don't have to worry about people discriminating me simply because of the way my skin color is. And because I'm a man, I get more opportunities or I get more respect. I don't like it is ridiculous that we live in a world that we are that people by just existing being who they are already have a less opportunities, less open windows, open doors. It is ridiculous. I've been like thinking about reflecting and shifting my perspective a lot. That in the grand scheme of things, all the pain, anxieties, sadness, depression, anger, everything that I've been through, all those feelings and emotions, yes, they're valid. I can definitely feel like that. And honestly, you should too. Like, if you feel those things, feel them, experience them, be like, it's part of being human. I'm sorry if people have dismissed your emotions and feelings, but you should not seek validation in others. If you can find people who validate you and accept your deepest, darkest forms, your anger, your depression, anxiety, then that is amazing. And I'm so happy that you have that. I'm so happy that I have people in my life that can support me and give me the love that I need when I'm going through that. But you don't need people's validations. You are who you are, and that should be enough. If people insult you, call you names, or try to belittle you for opening up, showing your emotions, being who you are, why are you with them or around them? Now that I've thought about all that and like I'm able to look at different scenarios at different angles, then realize that yes, everything that I went through sucked, but it could be worse. I feel that what I'm supposed to do, I guess my purpose or part of my purpose, I don't know what you want to call it, is help those people who are struggling. Not entirely sure how. Maybe this can help people, but just know that you're not alone. That's what I want to do. I want to help people, and I feel like sharing my experiences might, or maybe I might come off as entitled, but that's like not what I want to do. Like, ooh, you went through all of that, but it wasn't as bad. See, this is why I get scared. Like, I've shared again my past experience and thoughts, emotions, feelings that people try to, I guess, compare. Like, well, you don't have it as bad, and like I understand that. I don't, but that doesn't mean that I've been through it doesn't matter, and that applies to you too. I hope to help people, but also I'm here to share my thoughts, feelings, experiences, because I feel that I haven't been able to do that in the past. I appreciate and love all of you. I hope you're doing good. I hope you can find some sense of peace a little bit with this. I love helping people. Sometimes it comes around and bites me in the ass, but I love doing it because in the grand scheme of things, it could be worse. And for some people it is. So I'm here to try in a way help with that. Just please remember, you are who you are, and that should be enough. I am who I am, and that is enough. I love you. I appreciate you.